आहे का? किती शिक्षा आहे कल्पना आहे का? 3 वर्ष कैदीची शिक्षा आहे. 3 वर्ष झाली ना. जर आपण कन्व्हिक्शन रेट बघितला एरवी सुद्धा, तर तोही आता वाढलाय आणि सायबर क्राईम कन्व्हिक्शन सुद्धा आपल्या आणि एस्पेशली आपल्या स्टेटमध्ये खूप जास्त आहे. त्यामुळे चुकीच्या ईमेल आय डीवरून जर कोणी कम्युनिकेशन केलं तर त्याचे कन्व्हिक्शन झालेले आहेत. इनफॅक्ट आमच्याच कंपनीने काही चालवलेल्या केसेसमध्ये ते झालेले आहेत. म्हणून मी एवढ्या कॉन्फिडेंटली तुम्हाला सांगू शकते. मी एक ह्याचं उदाहरणही तुम्हाला देते. खूप वर्षांपूर्वी माझ्या ऑफिसमध्ये एक बाई आल्या होत्या. खूप रडत होत्या आणि मी जाणून घेत होते काय झालं. तेव्हा त्या म्हणल्या की माझ्या मुलाला अटक झाली आहे, तर तुम्ही आज अपिअर होऊन बेलसाठी अप्लाय करा. ते माझं काम आहे, ते मी केलं आणि मी जाणून घेत होते की काय काय प्रॉब्लेम झाला होता. त्या बाईंनी मला असं सांगितलं की काहीतरी असं झालं असेल की माझंच चुकलं त्याला वाढवण्यामध्ये, मीच त्याच्यावर चांगले संस्कार करू शकले नाही. त्याचा बेल झाला, तो बाहेर आला अटकेतून आणि मग ऑफिसला आम्ही चर्चा करत होतो की पुढे काय झालं. तेव्हा तो मला असं म्हणला की माझी एक मैत्रीण होती, आम्ही ठरवलं होतं MBA ची परीक्षा, इंजिनिअरिंग जस्ट संपलं होतं, आम्ही ठरवलं होतं की MBA ची परीक्षा एकत्र द्यायची. मग एकत्र ते फॉर्म्स भरणं, अर्ज करणं, वेगवेगळ्या सेंटर्सला जाऊन परीक्षा देणं, एकत्र काही दिवस अभ्यास केला, कधी कॉफी प्यायला बाहेर गेले. पण नंतर जसे जसे परीक्षा संपत आल्या तसं तो तिला म्हणायला लागला चल आपण बाहेर सिनेमा बघायला जाऊ, कॉफी प्यायला जाऊ, आणि ती हळूहळू नाही म्हणायला लागली. एकदा त्याचा वाढदिवस होता, सगळ्यांना बोलवलं होतं, तिलाही बोलवलं होतं. ती म्हणली अरे नाही मी आता नाही येऊ शकणार आणि माझे घरचे आता माझ्यासाठी स्थळं पण बघायला लागली आहे, तर त्या 1-2-3 महिन्यात माझं लग्न पण होईल. आणि त्याच्यानंतर ती पूर्ण कम्युनिकेशन त्याच्याशी थांबवते. एक 3-4 महिन्यानंतर तिला वेगवेगळ्या ईमेल आय डीज वरून कम्युनिकेशन यायला लागतं, अननोन ईमेल आय डीज. आणि त्या ईमेलचा कंटेंट हा खूप पर्सनल होता की तिच्या आवडीनिवडी, तिच्या बोलण्याची स्टाईल, तिची अभ्यास करण्याच्या स्टाईलवरून. पण तिला कळायचं नाही कुठनं ईमेल आला. मग हळूहळू त्या ईमेल्समध्ये ते धमक्या यायला लागल्या. ऑर्कुटचा काळ मी सांगते. ऑर्कुटच्या त्या स्क्रॅप काही लिहिता यायचं, त्या स्क्रॅपवर तिचा नंबर, ती कशी चांगल्या वळणाची नाहीये, चांगल्या चालीची नाहीये, अशा प्रकारचा मजकूर आला आणि तिचा फोन नंबर आला. हे जेव्हा कळलं तिच्या घरी तिला, तेव्हा त्या तिघांनी म्हणजे आई वडील आणि मुलीने असं ठरवलं की पोलीस कंप्लेंट दाखल करायची. पोलीस कंप्लेंट दाखल केल्यावर हे काय 15 ईमेल आय डीज वरून ईमेल्स आले होते, ते त्यांनी दाखल केले पुरावा म्हणून आणि इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन सुरू झालं. इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन अनदर पॉइंट ह्याच्यामध्ये लक्षात ठेवा, इंटरनेट ऑफर्स अनॉनिमिटी. असं आपल्याला वाटतं की इंटरनेटवर मी काही पण केलेलं चालेल, कोणाला कळणार नाही. हे सगळ्यात मोठं चुकीची समजूत आहे. जसं ह्या केसमध्ये झालं, जसे ते ईमेल्स ट्रेस झाले, ते प्रत्येक ईमेल कुठल्या तरी सायबर कॅफेला आहे. पुण्यातली केस आहे. असं धरूयात पुण्यातल्या 25 वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणच्या सायबर कॅफेमध्ये तो ईमेलचा ट्रेस गेला. पोलीस त्या सायबर कॅफेत जाऊन चौकशी केली की कोण असेल, कोणी येऊन इथे ईमेल आय डी तयार केले. त्यावेळेला काही रेकॉर्ड रजिस्टर, CCTV वगैरे काही नव्हते, त्यामुळे तसा कोल्ड ट्रेस झाला, काही कळलं नाही पोलिसांना काय झालं. पण एका ठिकाणी सेंट्रल सर्व्हर होता आणि तो सेंट्रल सर्व्हर जप्त केला पोलिसांनी. जप्त केल्यामुळे सायबर कॅफे बंद झाले. सायबर कॅफे बंद झाल्यावर ह्या मुलांनी जे म्हणजे काय त्यांनी केलं होतं, त्यांनी जाऊन चौकशी केली की सिक्युरिटीकडे, काय रे बाबा सायबर कॅफे बंद का झाली. इंग्लिश मैं ट्राई करती हूँ हिंदी, लेकिन वो हिंदी में ऐसी फ्लुएंसी नहीं है, तो बहुत वक्त चला जाएगा. तुला मी नंतर सांगेन मला. So what I was trying to say was that all these emails got traced to different cyber cafes across Pune. And the police didn't know what to do because they were cold trays. But in one cyber cafe, there was a central server which got seized by the police and the cyber cafe shut down. So this boy went and inquired, why is the cafe shut down on a Tuesday afternoon? So the security alerted the police saying कि एक बंदा आया था पूछने क्यों cyber cafe बंद क्यों है. So the police rounded him up in the next, let's say, 12 hours and started asking him questions. Now let me tell you, because we all are white collared, we think we are very smart. But if you're called to the police station and asked questions, I will guarantee that you'll try to act smart, no doubt, in the beginning. You'll try to perhaps, try to fool the police. But in the next 15 minutes, you will tell the truth. Because you really have to be a very, very hardened criminal to not to be able to say the truth before the police. They know how to create that atmosphere. It's very, very intimidating. And you are, of course, you are in that fear that now something is going to happen to you. So in this case, ह्या मुलाला जेव्हा अटक झाली, he gave a list of all these email IDs he had created. And of course, मी तुम्हाला आधी सांगितलं की त्याला अटक झाली. He was arrested, and that is why his mother had come to me. So when I was talking to him, I said, what made you do this? You are an engineer, well qualified. Weren't you thinking? Why did you do a thing which was so stupid? So he said, no, I was very angry with her. She flirted with me. She was with me. She made sure that I filled up all her forms, took her from one place to another. And then suddenly, when all this was over, she told me now she doesn't want to meet me. So I was angry. So I said, okay, I completely agree with you. You were angry. But because you were angry, you did something for which you will now pay for the rest of your life. Because every time you fill up a visa form, you will say, one criminal case pending against you. Of a crime against a woman, again because now those crimes are also held at a different level. So a crime against a woman which is cognizable, punishable with 3 years of imprisonment, it will be very, very difficult for you to move from one employment to another or even get one visa to another. So what I'm trying to tell you in this case is, perhaps you or me will not do things with a criminal mind. But technology is offering you a platform where you could do things out of emotion which can result into a crime. Again, I've seen a lot of cases where people are creating a lot of false identities on the net under somebody else's name. And as I've earlier said, punishable with 3 years of imprisonment. So just put it out of your mind. If it is technologically possible, it need not be legal. It could be completely unlawful, illegal. इथे कोणाचा तरी फोन वाजतोय मला वाटतं for quite some time. Another thing, as student population, you need to understand, and I'll tell you why it is so important, because the moment you enroll for a foreign university, this is where Indians are looked down upon, because we are so used to copying. Any submission, first you will do Google, best 10 entries, copy paste, and now thoda sa badal, so it looks like ours. Information on the internet is not free. It was somebody else's content which has value. Now this slide, it has value because it is, I have made it. So tomorrow you decide to make a presentation, and if you list down 5 myths, you better write my name because I have a copyright. Because I created this. Because if you don't, it means you are stepping on an intellectual property created by me. You could add one more and say, I was inspired by what she told, but I could think of 5 more. And so you make 10 and you say 5 were hers, but 5 are mine and they are original. The moment you start valuing this, your work will start getting value. Let me tell you, the saddest part today for Indians is nobody takes us seriously in terms of creativity and originality. We are known as copycats all over the world, and nobody else is to blame but you and me, because we love to do that. So what happens to our students when you go outside? They have plagiarism check software. Do you have that in your universities now? Where you need to submit your work and it actually gives a result from where all you have copied. And then you have to ensure either you cite the source or you kind of change your content in such a way that it skips the plagiarism software. So just remember this and life is easy. Look up the internet for information, learn from it, internalize it, and then come up with something new which is yours and which is original, and then no one will stop you. The future is yours. But if you get stuck in this rut of copying, then I don't think we're going anywhere. It is okay to use unlicensed software. Everybody does it. All my students tell me, but madam, everybody does it. Okay, so tomorrow or today, if Nagpur police decide to arrest, no, they'll say, okay, we'll book a big auditorium, because there will be so many people using unlicensed software. We'll arrest all of them and we'll keep them in custody in that auditorium. Can they do that? Yes, they can do that. All they have to do is come and check your smartphones, see for unlicensed software, or your computers, and you're put behind bars. Do you know what is the maximum punishment for using unlicensed software? Minimum 6 months to 3 years. So minimum is 6 months. So you can't even say, no, sorry sir, it was a mistake. Everybody in my college does it. That will not work. And especially when you're in professional space, that will not work at all, because on that unlicensed software you're actually making money. So you're using unlicensed software for commercial purpose. So there, at least here you could say, I'm using unlicensed software for educational purpose. And perhaps Nagpur police will be kind on you. I'm not very sure of that, but they can choose to. Last but not the least, there is no law for the internet. I mean, it's okay to have this in your mind, because my profession has been epitomized by, everybody feels, oh, lawyers don't know anything, because I think who Sunny Deol said, Tariq pe Tariq, Tariq pe Tariq. I took a Tariq in Pune courts today because I had to be here. So lawyers don't do anything, judges don't know anything, police officers again don't know anything, because Salman Khan does everything, and police officers come only at the end of the movie. So it's quite natural for you to believe that there is no law for the internet. But let me shatter this myth also, that there is law, there are lawyers who know their subject, there are judges who are very, very proactive. I heard your DCP today morning. She was amazing. She spoke so well on the subject of sexual harassment and cyber crimes, which means that there are police officers who are smart, trained, very, very intelligent, who know their business, which means today we are in a world which is very well regulated. It is only now up to you and me to choose to be on the right side of law and choose not to do things just because everybody else around you is doing it. You have a choice to lead even life on the net or in cyberspace, a life of choice which is about all ethical principles and legal principles. So if you know 90% of what I have put up on the screen, you are this generation. Anything below 90%, you are past, dead and gone. How many of you have heard Yik Yak? No? No one? Snapchat? How many of you use Snapchat? Why do you use, I really wanted to ask this question. Why do you use Snapchat? What is so good about Snapchat? Because it does not store anything. So you can do what you like, and in the next 10 seconds or 5 seconds, or I think you need to program it or time it, and it gets destroyed. Which means, you know, you're a free bird. You can do what you like and say what you like, and then there is no evidence. Okay, good. I mean, if you believe it, very, very good. It's true to a large extent, because investigating authorities find it very, very difficult to retrieve evidence from Snapchat, but it's not impossible. So if you've threatened somebody on Snapchat yesterday, okay, be a little worried today, because perhaps it is easy with forensic tools to dig up what you had said, because Snapchat somewhere is storing it. I'll not spend much time here because we already talked about platformization, and this is how your life is changing due to platformization. Let's take perhaps just one case each, and then maybe some question answers. Financial crimes. You know, perhaps you are the smarter generation because you were on Paytm much before we were forced to go on Paytm. But I don't know how smart you are in terms of understanding what could be good and bad while using monetary platforms which are internet enabled. One primary thing I can tell you, no platform is totally secure. It is a myth to believe that even Paytm came up with a patch. Do you know Paytm was insecure when everybody started using it? Because if you logged on to Paytm and kept it open, it remained open. So there was no default logout. So if you logged in Paytm and if you forgot your phone somewhere, anybody could use your Paytm account from your phone. Paytm realized that later, and then now they've introduced a feature of a timeout. So even financial platforms are going to evolve. You and me need to be very, very alert about how we are using them and keep our eyes and ears open all the time. I'll tell you about one very common financial fraud which happens, and it has variations. I know about a case where one person met another person on LinkedIn. Do you know what LinkedIn is? It's a professional platform, right, where we meet professionals. So if you get a request from a professional on LinkedIn, do you believe it is his profile? Yeah, generally yes, even I believe. So you say yes, you actually also go and look at the profile and you admire and you say, oh, I'm so glad I have him on my list. But LinkedIn profiles can be fake. Now one LinkedIn person starts talking to another LinkedIn person about business. So eventually this person says, let's start this offshore software development business in India. You hire 3 people, this is the product, and this is the timeline. So this person in India starts the business. He hires 3 people, product development starts. The time comes for delivery. So he says, no, what we'll do is I'm anyway going to come to India. So let me come there and we'll meet also, and then we'll do the monetary transaction. While coming, now tickets are booked, he's supposed to come in February. Suddenly in the last week of January he says, you know what, some things are stuck up and it's in the embassy. You need to transfer about 12,000 rupees, so my papers are cleared. So he says, oh, very surprising, I've never heard of this before, but chalo, I'll do that. So he transfers 12,000 rupees. Again after 10 days he gets an email again which says that there's some more problem and now you need to transfer another 10,000, 15,000 to this representative so that he can get my papers cleared. This goes on till the time he must have transferred about 5.5 lakhs. Now this person in India starts getting a little worried. Why is things are not happening? My 5.5 lakhs are also gone. And then he realizes this was a complete scam and there was no such real person who had given him any business from UK or wherever he was communicating from. And his 5.5 lakhs have gone into the hands of a fraudster. Now let me tell you, there are many variations in these kinds of frauds. There are matrimonial frauds, there are frauds in business, there are frauds which are lottery scams, and it's a big racket. And don't even imagine that we are not people who transfer such large amounts of money. I know law students who have done it. I know people with good professional qualifications who have done it. I know women who have registered themselves on matrimonial sites who have transferred money. So it is about people who are like you and me, who eventually get caught up in such kind of scams and transfer money. Let me just talk about cyber pornography and then stop. I used to teach at a lot of law colleges, and my students were very interested in this part of IT law. And the first thing they used to say, but ma'am, looking at cyber porn is legal in India. I used to say, yes, you are very bright students. I completely agree with you. If you read the section very carefully, just watching porn, if you are more than 18 years of age, is not illegal. The section says that if you transmit, publish or store any information which is pornographic, it is a crime, punishable with 5 years of imprisonment. So I'll tell you a little story which I used to tell all my students because it makes it easier to understand. So imagine you are in your room, the door is closed, your parents are thinking you are studying, but you are watching porn, and the window behind you is open. And there is a man who is trying to come in, trying to break into your house. So you look back, you catch hold of him, you're very proud of yourself, and you take him to the nearest police station. So perhaps the police know him already, he's perhaps regular in that area. So the police say, अच्छा आप जाओ, हम इनसे निपटा लेंगे. So maximum imprisonment for attempt to housebreak, because he didn't come in, right? You were so smart that you caught him at the window itself, is maximum 6 months of imprisonment. But if he says, लेकिन साहब आपको देखना चाहिए था वो क्या कर रहा था लड़का या लड़की, that amounts to publication of porn, and that is 5 years of imprisonment. So perhaps in the same jail, he spent 6 months, but you spent 5 years because you were watching porn which you published to that person who tried to housebreak. So unfortunately in India, cyber pornography is walking a tightrope. So on one hand you justify saying that I am over 18 so I can watch cyber pornography, but on the other hand the law is such that it can be, you are on very slippery ground. There is a school of thought that you need to legitimize it because anyway everybody is looking at it. In fact, documented years where children look at pornography is perhaps from the 6th or 7th standard. And the saddest part is parents don't know how to handle it. Parents don't know what to talk to their children about, and we are getting more and more perversity because of standards that are established by pornography. It is something which is absolutely, as I said, worrisome, and we really need absolute stringent laws to look at it. The Indian government made a very feeble attempt to close all pornographic sites, but they closed down 10 and 50 came up. And I was so surprised that there was a newspaper article which actually talked about how to access cyber porn through proxy. So even if you didn't know about it, you could actually read the newspaper article and access it. So as I said, the only thing now that you need to remember is internet remembers everything. So even if you're doing it through a proxy server or through proxy sites, Big Brother is watching, and internet will remember the kind of sites that you have access to. So I think I'll stop here. If you have a few questions, though I've not completed my presentation, but I've run out of time. So if you have any questions, if the organizers allow questions, yes, otherwise thank you. I have time? Okay. So another 10 minutes till I completely lose my voice. One more area of concern is grooming. Perhaps you are now not in that age where you will not be victims of grooming, but anyway, let me talk about it. It is a concept where a relationship of trust is established. See, we all at some point of time in our lives go through some kind of crisis. A certain age where we hate everyone. We hate our teachers, we hate our parents, we hate our friends, and we think that the whole world is conspiring against us. And poor me. So when you're the poor me, you find a friend on internet who is always supportive, who makes you feel beautiful, who makes you feel strong, who makes you feel worthy, who says, oh, but how can people treat you like that? You are so funny, you talk so well, you look so well. Even if you're like 80 kilos, that person will say, oh, but you look just so pretty and fine and fit. So I like talking to that person. So every day I go back and I reinforce this bond that I have with this person on the net who makes me feel so special. But it's not so simple. Here are these sick people on the net who are on the lookout for such people. They may be sometimes called pedophiles, who are men, women who target young children for sexual favors. They could be men and women who target not so young people for sexual favors. And is it happening in India? Yes. In fact, it is documented that Caucasians, that the white people actually target people from Asian countries over the net, establish this bond of faith and trust, and actually come here for sex tourism. And who are these people? They are people like you and me who are on the net befriending strangers. We call this as the scattergun approach. So these pedophiles reach out to a lot of random people. Let's say 10 random people, knowing that at least 2 will respond. Earlier the attacks were very targeted. Now the attacks have changed and it's more like a scattergun approach. What is very disturbing here is you have established a relationship of trust with that person. And let me tell you again another takeaway. Most of the cyber crimes that happen and where you and me could be victims happen from people whom you trust, whom you have faith. And that is when you will be vulnerable, your guard will be down, you are not so alert, and the attacker attacks you. I'll give you one more case. One lady was living in a one-room apartment in Mumbai, working. She had a internet connection, a laptop or a computer there. And since she did not know a lot of people, she was in the habit of talking to strangers on the net when she came back home. Out of these so many people she was connecting with, she started interacting with one person in particular. So faith was established, trust was established. They exchanged a lot of personal information. They also exchanged pictures, photographs, greeting cards, hello, hi, etc. This lady, after some months, decided to change her job. So she applied for a new job. She was called for an interview, and the HR person interviews her and says, "Madam, your academic qualifications, your experience is amazing. We are really impressed by what you've given us, but we are very sorry we can't offer you this job because you'll not fit into our culture. We are a very conservative lot of people." So she's a little surprised. She doesn't know why she's not getting the job. So she asks him, "What do you mean, sir? What do you mean by you are conservative and perhaps I'm not and I won't fit in your culture?" So he says, I'm quite surprised why you're asking me this, because you are live feeding what is happening in your one-room apartment on this website. And we don't really adhere to, or we don't really approve of such conduct. So whatever was happening in that one room, in her bathroom, in her one room while she was changing clothes, everything was getting relayed online. And she was just devastated when she came to know this. And she said, "I'm shocked to see this." So she goes to the cybercrime cell and lodges a complaint. During investigation, we realized that when we ask her questions, look at her hard disk, what has happened, she had downloaded some files which was sent to her by this person, which had a Trojan in it. Now, Trojan is a file which looks good but does a lot of harm. So what happened in that was, this Trojan, we call it the remote administration Trojan, had the capability of taking complete control of the computer she had in her apartment. That Trojan or that program could operate input-output devices and give the control back to the attacker. Now, who was this attacker? Was the friend with whom she was talking with all the time. He had installed a Trojan on her computer which could switch on her camera, capture what was happening and relay the pictures back to him, which he was uploading on the website. This was the first, in fact, one of the first cybercrime cases which was solved by the Mumbai police. Now, something which I was talking about grooming, and which you should remember for all crimes related to sexual harassment or sexual offences, especially women, they generally happen from sources that you trust. Your friends, your family, your kaka's kaka. People with whom you feel you have a connect, with whom you trust. So this is, I traveled abroad at a very young age. And my mother had one thing to, and I was alone when I was traveling. And very sad the way she told me, but she told me one thing. She told me, be careful of Indian passengers. They will come to you offering help. You should be most alert about them. Because they will pretend, because you're alone, you look scared, because it was my first time abroad all on my own. And that is where you will falter. That is where you will feel, oh, I trust him, he's Indian. And I will trust him, and that is the possibility of exploitation. And the same thing applies to you when you're on the net. If you feel there is a connection, there is trust, there is faith, the possibility of that person shattering your faith is the largest. Now one more case, or let's say one more situation that youngsters perhaps need to deal with it more than people my age. You are very, very passionate about digitally documenting your life. Selfies, what angle, what light. When you go out, travel. So you want to take pictures, lots of them. Put them on Facebook, share, whatever. So you're creating a digital history of what is happening in your lives. So first boyfriend, second boyfriend, third boyfriend, first, second, third girlfriend. So but now you're on your next girlfriend, so you want to delete the earlier pictures, right? But digital technology will not allow you to do that because the digital technology has remembered everything. Not only that, youngsters are now indulging into exchanging intimate photographs. So it could be nude selfies, it could be semi-nude selfies, it could be pictures in intimate positions. Okay, once you send and I will delete. I wish I had a film which generally I show for an age group like this, and how devastating it can be if you have ever shared such pictures, because once it is out of your control, once you press the button send to a person you absolutely trust, right? You have 100% trust in the person to whom you are sending that message. But you can't trust digital technology, neither can you trust that person. And it is as good as putting those pictures in public domain. And that can haunt you for the rest of your life. So this is again something, so it's an example about that. It's something that you really need to be careful about. I've already spoken about this. There is a law which was enacted in the year 2000. There's all cybercrimes are cognizable, which means, you know, this Hindi dialogue, when if a police officer comes to your house, you say, "Acha, lekin warrant dikhao." That is not applicable when the offences are cognizable. He can just arrest you whenever he wants. The police have the power to do that. Most of the crimes are punishable with 3 years of imprisonment, some with 5, for child pornography with 10, subsequent conviction with 20, and life imprisonment for offences of cyber terrorism. So the law is very stringent, and if it gets applied the way it has been framed, it can really make life very tough for us. There are special cybercrime cells. Maharashtra, all over Maharashtra now there will be cybercrime cells in this year. Absolutely good cyber forensic labs which are in existence even today. And you will eventually you will see special courts. So please take that image out from your head that judges, lawyers, all they do is ask for a date. Remember this, and most of the times you will be safe. 3 C's of security: content, contact, and conduct. Make wise choices about content, what you are seeking and posting online. Contact, be wise about whom you contact and what you do with that person. Go back and just check your Facebook accounts and see how many people on your contact list are people you know, and see if you can try and delete them. Conduct, be wise of your conduct, what you do. So what you do it's actually very simple. What you do in real life, same thing you have to do on the net, but somehow the internet makes you bolder, makes you want to take more risks, and perhaps makes you do things that you otherwise don't do in real life. And one of the reasons can be that you think that you are anonymous on the net. Now you know you're not. In fact, you are more visible than you are physically visible. On the net, you are more visible, and it's very easy to reach out to you if I am an investigating authority. So conduct is very important when it comes to the net. So 3 C's, and as I said, most of your troubles will be taken care of. Have you heard of this, that you should protect your passwords? Nothing new, right? How many of you actually do it? How many of you actually have very complex passwords? Well, I don't. Now, what you need to do whenever you are using your digital technology is ensure two-factor authentication. So, password is one way of authentication, and the way banks do it, and OTP is your second factor authentication. And perhaps insist to bank with banks which have three-factor authentication, which means a password, an OTP, and a biometric or a RIFD. So you will have some banks who will do that. So I don't want to name those banks, but find them out for yourself, who will give you three-factor authentication that will ensure at least your money is safe. For the rest, you just need to be more alert and take care of your digital identity. Also remember one thing, use your passwords like a toothbrush. Do you share toothbrushes? Same thing, don't share your password. Because we are in the habit, चलो secretary को दे दिया, accountant को दे दिया, husband को दे दिया. In fact, I have learned that one way of showing trust in each other now is sharing passwords. I think that's the worst way of showing trust. Don't, if somebody asks you a password, break up with him. That's not how you trust each other. Password is for you. It's your digital identity, and you really have to be very, very protective about it. Do not believe internet content blindly. Let's assume tomorrow you come across a research paper written by Vaishali Bhagwat, I'm Vaishali Bhagwat by the way, on environment and climate change and how the world is going to drown in the next 20 years. Will you believe it? Well, you should, because I have no expertise on climate change. What I'm trying to tell you is, just because it's on the internet and very well written and very well presented, it need not necessarily be true. Because internet will have the ability to throw out information to you which is very well packaged. You have to use your discretion to decide whether the content is believable or not, and whether this person who claims to have written it really is an expert on writing the content or not. Freedom of speech and expression is your fundamental right. Do you know it? But you have to use it with full discretion, especially on the internet, because there is nobody else to tell you what is right and what is wrong. But just because it's the internet, don't get into any defamatory or any inflammatory dialogue. I see so many chats which come to me as part of investigation where people use absolute foul language. They don't care or respect about other person's emotions or identity or in what workspace they are, and it's just they go on a rant. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, even in your real life, you should have full control over your language. It's very sad, but we can't say this about a lot of people, because in India we are so used to hearing bad words. But make it a conscious choice not to use them in your real life first, and then translate that into your cyber life. Because though freedom of speech and expression is your fundamental right, any bad word means that it's a criminal offense. Now, why I am saying this, that you should have a habit of using good language even in your real life, because same gets translated in the digital world, and digital world creates evidence. I always tell couples getting divorced, they come with, nowadays when you have to file a divorce petition, most of the evidence is on WhatsApp, and both parties, wife and husband, will give us files full of printouts of WhatsApp chat. he said this and she said this, and all foul language. So I keep telling them, ऐसे ही करना है तो WhatsApp पे मत करो, pick up a call and do it, because at least you're not creating evidence. But the moment you write down or type, it is an evidence that will be used against you for cases which can get filed against you. Circulation of pornography is an offense, even if circulated amongst friends. So just think twice before sending a pornographic joke to another person, especially if she is a lady, and especially if you are at workplace, because today workplaces are highly regulated places for sexual harassment. So if today you are not working and tomorrow you are going to get into workplace environment, and if you say, I really like her, or I want to flirt with her, or for whatever reasons you send a joke to your female colleague which is obscene or pornographic, it will cost you your job. Companies today have zero tolerance over sexual harassment. All she has to do is take a printout, go to their internal complaints committee and say, I'm sexually harassed at workplace because Mr. So-and-so, working as sales representative, yesterday sent me this message. All the ICC does is call him and tenders him a termination letter saying that we don't want such people in our organization. So you really need to be very, very alert on this. So now my last slide, cyber essentials. Have our antivirus, have your periphery security, have your firewalls, change default settings of firewalls, because otherwise it's of no use. A default setting of a firewall is open, and I'm sure you know it. Have you removed software that you don't use? I always tell all the people that I meet, do you clean your desks or your houses once a year at least? Yeah. Have the same habit for your computers. Do it every 3 months, because you'll realize most of the things on your computers is junk, and perhaps they are backdoors to a lot of malware that comes into your computer. So it's a basic cyber hygiene habit. Be very careful of giving full admin access to people who don't deserve it. Full admin access only needs to be there for the systems administrator and no one else. Even if you are at working place, not even to top management. Access levels have to be very properly defined so that you will have complete control over the system. So even if it is your own computer infrastructure, you need to define your access levels so that you prohibit others from accessing your digital devices. How many of you have antivirus on your smartphones? Okay, not many. It doesn't really cost a lot. It's perhaps 210 rupees. So please install one and update. Free antivirus is of no use. Perhaps it takes away more data from you than give you anything. So buy a good piece of antivirus, keep it regularly patched, keep it updated, and perhaps you have a safer life on the internet. Thank you very much, and I hope there was some takeaway for you.
गुड इवनिंग। कैसा लगा आपको आज का प्रोग्राम? इफ एनीबडी आस्क एनी क्वेश्चंस यू कैन आस्क प्लीज।
मॅम, असं एखादा व्हायरस आहे किंवा आपण त्याला बनवू शकतो काय की तो जेणेकरून कम्प्युटरमध्ये टाकल्यावर तो त्या कम्प्युटरमधलं ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पूर्णपणे नष्ट करून टाकेल?
His work or how and then let us try it and figure out an answer for you. Viruses infect an operating system or infect a computer by coming through an operating system, because operating systems per se are not secure products. म्हणजे ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम मध्ये इनसिक्युअर प्लेसेस आहेत, म्हणजे लेट्स से होल्स आहेत, आणि ते होल्स पॅच करायच्या आधीच ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम रिलीज झाली आहे. मग मायक्रोसॉफ्ट काय करतं, सिन्स इट्स द लार्जेस्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम, आपल्याला वापरायला देतं आणि मग म्हणतं आय विल गिव्ह यू अ पॅच सो दॅट यू पॅच दॅट वन ऑफ द होल्स. And that is how your operating systems get more robust and robust, because they evolve over time. Now a virus generally will have the capability of destroying data. तुमची address list आहे, graphic images आहेत, music files आहेत, so it will corrupt data. Operating system च्या files आहेत त्या सुद्धा कुठल्या तरी hard disk वर install झालेले असतात. Now if the virus eats into that data where the operating system is stored, that data will get lost, but operating system as a whole will remain. त्यामुळे तुम्ही ती reinstall केली की operating system परत चालू होते. So operating systemच नष्ट होईल हे अवघड, म्हणजे it's next to impossible, because operating systems get installed on different machines. तो data corrupt होईल इतपत ठीक आहे, but you have a backup and you reinstall the operating system.
पण ती नष्ट होऊ शकते का?
नाही ना, नष्ट कम्प्लिटली होऊ शकणार नाही. भाग एखादा डेटा त्यातला नष्ट होऊ शकतो, पण ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम ॲज अ फीचर कधीच नष्ट नाही होणार. त्याचा बॅकअप ऑलरेडी आहेच तुमच्याकडे.
यहाँ पे एक फेस्टिवल्स के कुछ स्टॉल लगे हुए हैं, आप वहाँ विजिट करके और इन्फॉर्मेशन दे सकते हो.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. I'm Prayagraj Kashyap, by the way, from Government Polytechnic. Ma'am, my question is, which antivirus would you recommend to us users? Like, which one is best?
Is it personalized questions?
Like, I've been using Quick Heal since 3 years, and my experience so far is very good.
Quick Heal is from Pune, so I'm very happy with that company. Otherwise, it's not possible for me to really endorse any antivirus. But one thing I can tell you, antivirus companies are very smart. They will tell you that they will protect you against, let's say, 20 lakh viruses. So there's another antivirus which will come up with that one more virus that the earlier antivirus doesn't protect. So the game will go on.
No similar. Give a chance to that lady.
Ma'am, my name is Shivani Chindrakar and I am from grade 2001. So ma'am, when you tell us about the cyber terrorism, what are the contents or what are the reasons behind it? And other than that, when women, especially ladies who are harassed at the workplace, what a woman will do if that person or the man who is sending her, intimidated jokes or pornography resides from a higher workplace. So what will a woman do, and what are the reasons or the Trojans of a cyber terrorism?
So you have two questions. One is about cyber terrorism and one is sexual harassment at workplace, sexual harassment of women at workplace. So let me try and define what cyber terrorism is. Any form of communication that will have an effect of affecting security of state is cyber terrorism. So it's not you do X, that is cyber terrorism, Y cyber terrorism. Anything that has this effect is cyber terrorism by using digital media. I'll give you one example which happened in Pune a few years back, and we called it the Northeast Exodus. So in Pune, I don't know how many of you know, but we have a lot of student population. And we have a lot of students who have come into Pune from Northeast. What happened was there were certain rumors against certain northeastern students, and those rumors spread on WhatsApp, and it went so much out of control that the entire student population they were very scared, and they started to leave the city. Not one, not two, not 10, but hordes of them, to an extent that reservations, they were not getting reservations at railway stations or air tickets, and there were thousands of northeastern students leaving the city, and there was a general sense of panic in the entire student community, and the Pune police had intervened, and they had announced this as a case of cyber terrorism because it had the effect of affecting the security of the state and of course security of those students. Now the investigation went on, few arrests were made as to who started this chain of spreading rumors against North Indian students. So this is one documented example of how cyber terrorism is. There was another case where Google groups were used to send hate messages against a Muslim community. What had happened again in Pune was one Muslim person was killed, and then there were these Google groups from which these Muslim hate messages were getting broadcasted. Even that scenario was classified as a case of cyber terrorism. Coming to sexual harassment at workplace. So sexual harassment has been very clearly defined as an unwanted physical act or conduct. So either directly or by implication. So either someone touches you that you don't like, or someone sends you a picture, someone sends you a joke, someone sends you some email which has sexual content or obscene content which makes you feel very uncomfortable at workplace. You need to do only one thing. You have to go to the internal complaints committee which the organization has to have. It's mandatory now. You go to the internal complaints committee and lodge a complaint in writing. What we see by and large is even women don't want to stand up for themselves, and I'm very glad you stood up and asked this question, and she deserves a round of applause for it, because women generally shy away from this, and that is why sexual harassment cases don't get reported. And we are telling all the women, see, if I ask the women in this crowd how many women have been sexually harassed, perhaps women are shy not to raise their hands, but let me tell you, 99.9% women are sexually harassed at some point of time in their lives. Either unwanted touch in public transport, unwanted touch by people or relatives that should not have happened, and it is a fact of life for every Indian woman. Now let us accept this and look at the subject, which means you and me should have the courage to stand up and say, yes, it happened to me and I want to lodge a complaint against this man who did it. Women are doing it, and there is an internal complaints committee who will initiate an inquiry even if your boss does it to you. So you need not fear, because the complaints committee is completely independent of the management, and they will take a very rational, independent view of the case. So I hope I've answered your question, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है, बहुत हाथ ऊपर खड़े हो रहे हैं, और कुछ टाइम का लिमिट भी है, और मैडम का और एक इंटरव्यू भी बाकी है जो मीडिया पे हमारा होने वाला है, तो
मेरी फ्लाइट भी है।
हाँ, तो फ्लाइट भी है, तो मैं थैंक यू कहूँगा। और आप लोगों को ये आपके जो बचे हुए क्वेश्चन आपके दिमाग में अगर है, तो अपना संडे के दिन शाम को एक साइबर गप्पा करके नागपुर का ही एक अपना प्रोग्राम होने जा रहा है, संडे को शाम को 5:30 बजे, वो जरूर आप अटेंड कीजिए। वहाँ पे जो भी आपको इंटरेक्शन करना है वो ओपन इंटरेक्शन में रहेगा। थैंक यू मैडम, आप इतने दूर से आए हो और हमारे यहाँ का प्रोग्राम आपने सक्सेसफुल और सभी बच्चों को गाइडेंस दिया जो बहुत यूजफुल है। थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं वीरेंद्र सर से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि वो हमारे मैडम को एक मोमेंट कर। हमारा कैरेक्टर बहुत अच्छा बहुत अच्छा गाइडेंस है। थैंक यू।